the integrity of the officiant, and the arrogance of false wealth. A tale of honor and divine compensation. This story is narrated by a man named Walid, who serves as a Mazoan, an authorized official entrusted with the solemn duty of documenting and performing marriage contracts. Walid recounts, I received a call from a man named Ahmed, who said to me, "We request your presence at our home to officiate my sister's marriage." I arrived at the appointed hour, only to find that the prospective groom was a man I recognized named Mohsen. He was an elderly gentleman, approximately 70 years of age and immensely wealthy. Yet, he was a man whose every word and gesture dripped with insufferable arrogance. I whispered to my soul, I shall perform the contract and depart. I wish for no further acquaintance with such a man. The girl's family, by contrast, were people of modest means, impoverished, yet deeply respectable and devout. Their daughter was a polite, well-mannered young woman of about 20 years. As we sat together, Mohsen was accompanied by 3 associates. Also present were Ahmed, the girl's brother, and some of her other siblings. I turned to the brothers and asked, "Does your sister truly consent to wed this man?" Ahmed replied, "Yes, she is in agreement." I then asked, "Will you permit me to ask her myself?" This has always been my steadfast approach, particularly with girls from poor backgrounds or orphans. Despite the brothers' genuine concern for their sister's welfare, I feel a moral obligation to hear the affirmation from the bride's own lips. The brother replied, "Indeed, it is your right to ask her." At this, Mohsen, the wealthy old man, interjected sharply, "Why do you insist on questioning her personally?" I replied calmly, "It is a standard procedure." Yet within me, I felt a growing conviction that this man was unworthy of such a bride. Mohsen then remarked with sheer insolence, "Look here, Walid, this girl is both sickly and destitute, and I have provided a dowry of $6,000. In that moment, I realized the man viewed himself as her benefactor, as if he were purchasing her with his coin, regarding her family as subordinates. My resolve to speak with her only intensified. Her brother led me to her room, and I spoke to her softly. "Do you know that Mohsen seeks your hand in marriage?" She replied, "I do." I asked, "And are you aware the dowry is $6,000? She answered, "Yes." I then told her, "It is my sacred duty to act as a sincere advisor to both parties before the contract is signed. I have heard words from this man that were ill-spoken, and it is my obligation to reveal them to you." She said, "Pray tell me." I recounted Mohsen's words, that he viewed her as sickly and poor. I watched as a shadow of sorrow clouded her voice. She replied, "I am not sickly. He speaks of falsehood." The girl then asked me, "What is your honest opinion of this suitor, O Sheikh Walid?" I replied, "I shall offer my counsel, but the choice remains yours alone. By God, were you my own sister, I would never wed you to a man like Mohsen. He is utterly unsuitable for you." She then asked, "And what is your advice regarding the completion of this marriage?" I said, "The decision rests in your hands now." She stated firmly, "I do not consent to marry Mohsen." I asked, "Is this your final resolve?" She replied, "Yes, I will not marry him." I turned to her brother. "Have you heard your sister's words?" He confirmed he had. We returned to the assembly of men, where Mohsen was growing impatient. "The air has grown warm," he said with hubris. "Let us proceed with the contract." I replied, "It seems that shall not happen. The lady does not consent to this union." Mohsen barked back in grandiosity, "This marriage will happen. The matter is not for you or the girl to decide." He began to speak with overwhelming pride, so I told him, "We must maintain etiquette in our speech, and I shall not officiate this marriage so long as the bride is unwilling." Mohsen then threatened to report me to my superiors, to which I replied, "The doors of the officials are open to you. If I have erred, I shall accept my punishment." As I departed the assembly, he followed me out, his tone shifting to a desperate plea, "My friend, help me to marry her." I replied, "I swear by God, I will never perform this contract for you, because she does not want you." With that, I left him behind. A week later, a man I knew named Ali called me to his home. Upon arriving, I found Mohsen waiting there. I turned to Ollie and said, "This was not our agreement." Ollie replied, "We only wish to talk." I explained to Ollie the truth of what had transpired, how Mohsen harbored contempt for the girl and her kin. Ollie was shocked and said, "By God, he told me nothing of this. I offer my apologies, Walid." Mohsen then lamented, "You are the reason she refuses, for she has sworn she will not marry unless the officiant Walid approves of the suitor." I looked at him and said, "I will never officiate a marriage between you and her." I learned later that he tried repeatedly to increase the dowry, but she remained steadfast in her refusal. After some time, I informed a worthy and capable young man about this young woman. He proposed to her, and they were wed. God blessed them with righteous offspring, and they now lead a magnificent life. Her brother constantly assures me that she is profoundly happy in her new life. Lessons and insights derived from the story. Integrity in profession. An officiant is not merely a recorder of documents, but a trustee of the fates of families. Walid's stance embodies professional and ethical integrity. Human worth cannot be purchased. Wealth does not grant the right to disparage others or exploit their poverty. The dignity of the poor young woman was far more precious than Mohsen's gold. The importance of sincere counsel. Religion is sincere advice. Walid's honest counsel saved the girl from a life of humiliation, emphasizing the necessity of consulting those who are trustworthy. Marriage as affection, not a transaction. Mohsen's view of marriage as a commercial contract of sale was a shallow perspective that led to his failure, whereas the second marriage succeeded because it was built on parity and respect. Standing against oppression. The officiant's firm stance against threats of power and status teaches us to remain steadfast in the truth regardless of external pressures. The reward of the righteous spouse. When the woman relinquished the marriage for the sake of her dignity and faith, God compensated her with a husband who brought her joy, affirming the principle, "Whoever leaves something for the sake of God, he shall compensate them with something far better." If you enjoyed the story, support us by liking and subscribing to the channel to see more.